So it's Sunday night, and that means Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. So, panel, who do you think is a better businessman, Superman or Batman?
Batman, for sure.
Wrong. I've never heard of a bat market.
Oh, God.
The greatest DC comic show on YouTube has found its way to your viewing eyes. Welcome to Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. So great that you're spending time with us tonight. Of course, we have a very special guest today. Let's welcome back silver-haired Bronze Age Babe. How are you doing?
I am fine. Thank you both, gentlemen, for asking me back. I am thrilled to be here, and being an honorary fanboy is... I love it. I actually love it. I've been looking forward to this all day, and you're very kind to think of me for a Wonder Woman and Nubia discussion. So
that's right. You and I had a previous Nubia discussion in a live dive Nubia.
Yes.
And I kind of reached out and I said, I don't think we're done talking about her.
We're not. And the three issues that we're going to talk about, it deserves a longer period of time than, so this is great. This is perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, we're going to take attendance for the regular fanboys right now. Let's welcome Tony Fat.
I'm here. Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm thinking this week coming up is going to be a great week at work or bad week at work, depending on your perspective, because
one or the other.
My great Minnesota Vikings just pulled off an overtime win against the Buffalo Bills, and my director is a Buffalo Bills fan. So, like I said, it's going to be a great week at work or just the worst.
Yeah, exactly. Let's also welcome Tim, the comic collector. Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Oh,
excused.
He's got a note from his doctor. He's okay.
He's got a note there. And finally, we couldn't do Fanboys Live in the Retro Review without Comic Foo 2814.
Foo?
Well, apparently we can do Fanboys Live in the Retro Review without Comic Foo 2814. But links to all of the panel, including our special guest, Sarah Silverhair Bronze Age Babe, are in the description for this video. I also put the link to that live dive Nubia theme that we were just mentioning.
Oh, good.
Sarah, for those that aren't familiar with you or your channel, how would you introduce it or describe it to them?
Well, I am a DC Comics gal. I know nothing about Marvel. Well, I know some, enough to be dangerous, but I am a Silver and Bronze Age DC comic book collector, and I have been since I was 10 years old. So that means I've been at this for more than 50 years. So my channel has kind of evergreen videos on it where I show books from my collection and talk about why I have them and why I like what I like about them, sometimes what I don't like about them. But it's a love letter to a hobby that I have really adored my entire life. And so I just can't get enough of talking about my comic books on the internet, and which is why I love being invited on shows like this because I get to do it live on the internet with other comic book fans. So
congratulations as well. You've passed 500 subscribers.
I know. How crazy is that?
That's awesome.
I was thrilled that I remember being so excited when the first time I got a subscriber that wasn't someone I knew.
Yeah.
So that was like my fourth, but yeah, it is, I can't believe I'm past 500, but most importantly, it's the people that I've met here, you and Tony. And I know a bunch of us were on Metarog's thing last week where he was talking about his 5-year anniversary. Metarog, it dawned on me when I'm watching that live stream that, the thing really, it's not necessarily just about the books here on YouTube in this community. It's about the community. It's about meeting people to talk about this stuff. So and so for me, it's really expanded my love of this hobby and appreciation to be able to talk about it and share it with people who have the same weird interests that I do.
Well, we've had some awesome folks that have shown up already here in our live chat that I want to say hello to. Appreciate it as well. We miss you not being able to interact with you live if you're watching on the rewind, but it is appreciated and it's noticed. We read the comments. So, but here live with us, what's up to Ben Compton? First one in the chat today.
Uh-oh, did he freeze?
I think he's frozen. He said the weather was cold where he is. So
I think I bumped for a second.
Yeah, he's coming back.
We also have Super Russ 9000, who I'd love to see as a guest sometime on our show. So,
that would be good. Hi, Russ.
Yeah. Which is news to Russ because this is the first time I've broken that to him. So,
we should have him review a story about such an obscure character.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know. Who could he talk about? I don't know.
Yeah. Steven Spock, great to see you. Thanks for popping in. Got a big hello to Paul S. Thank you for spending your Sunday night. And Steven
hello,
Spock,
Paul. Thank you.
Also acknowledging. Oh, we have Warlord too. James has popped in, so hope you're doing well.
Glad to see you, bud.
Yeah. Ahoy to Cap'n Comics. Great to have you here. And Russ is free anytime. Awesome.
Oh, well, there you go.
We might have a guest for next week. He's like, I didn't really think that they were serious about that.
We did that to my friend Rob and I did that to Ryan last year. We were ending a live dive and so we're going to talk about blah blah blah. My friend Rob says we should ask Ryan to be on it. So we got him on it.
We're going to say meow to the Jackson Roykirk. Boy, that baritone voice that he has.
Can I just say, listening to his dulcet tones for the first time last week on Metarog's thing was like, Jackson, I don't know if I could love you anymore, but I do. I just do.
I got to check it out now.
Yeah. He is sound effects king, though.
Yes.
Is he?
Oh, my God.
Yep.
Jeez.
So thank you, folks, for checking out tonight's Fanboys Live in the Retro Review. We'll segue a little bit into the news. I think probably one of the biggest stories that happened is a very sad one, and that's the passing of Kevin Conroy.
Oh.
Yeah, it's no bueno. That's for sure. What did they say a cause of death?
I hadn't seen anything yet.
I was going to ask you if had he been ill or.
No, I did see, according to an article, I think it was Hollywood Reporter, said that in like a Facebook post, his sister said that he had been fighting an illness for a while.
Oh, sure.
But they didn't disclose anything further than that.
Mm-hmm.
So
see, it's funny. He voiced Batman, but he had the heart of Superman. Mm-hmm. He just kept going to all these conventions. If he was that sick, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sad, very sad.
Yeah. So
I've always wanted to meet him, but I never got to.
Same here. I'm going to talk about that in my comic book editions video that I'm dropping on Tuesday. Finished project, but what he would have signed for me had I done that. So
interesting.
Can I just say that there is a story that he wrote about his own experiences in the entertainment industry and then getting the job to voice Batman in the DC Pride 2022 book.
Yeah, it's a good story.
Fantastic.
I mean, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, seriously, do yourself a favor and pick that one up in tribute to him, because it's really very special. So
yeah. So Russ saying that he read that it was cancer. So, and Jackson Roykirk paying a little tribute tonight.
Yep.
After our show, that's a good way to do it. So
honestly, he was Batman for so long and voiced so many iterations of Batman. You don't have to just watch the animated series. You can watch Throw a Dart, and he voiced so much Batman.
Yeah, he did.
Tremendous way of honoring him. But yeah, the animated series, if you go an OG, go for it.
Yeah, exactly. Tony, what else as you're taking a drink of
yes
a beverage? What else do we have for DC news?
There was one article I thought right here. Sounds like Lobo is coming to the DCEU, and everyone was like, "Have Jason Momoa stop being Aquaman and have him start being Lobo." I say no because Aquaman's already established.
Yeah.
He's about to have another movie, so that sounds like a terrible idea.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not do that. But yeah, I think Lobo is cool. Maybe he's going to appear in the Man of Steel. They didn't say how he was going to appear, if he was going to be in someone else's movie or getting a standalone thing. I imagine he's pretty obscure, at least not mainstream. So it would make sense for him to appear alongside someone else before he would.
Now he has made a live action appearance. Lobo has. He was in that Krypton series that was done a couple years ago. Sarah, did you watch that?
No.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was unaware. I didn't watch any Krypton. Not that it was.
I think it was on the
bad.
Sci-Fi Network. It was an original for them. It went a couple seasons, but
That's cool.
He was a character on there. It actually wasn't. It wasn't that bad of a series. So I mean, we're talking, Jor-El and Lara but you get Brainiac in there, and
I'm glad you brought that up, Jor-El. Because that leads, it's a great segue to the next news article. Russell Crowe is petitioning DC to make a Jor-El prequel series.
Now, I would love that. Oh, I love Russell Crowe, and I thought he was fantastic in Man of Steel, and I'd be all over that.
I look like a young I tell you what, I don't think so, but I'd love to play the part.
They squeeze him into a suit.
Yeah, right.
I don't care. Skinny Russell Crowe, fat Russell Crowe, it's all good to me. I think he's good.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen, but I guess when he saw Henry Cavill was coming back, he's like, yeah, let's do a prequel to Man of Steel. I don't think that's really necessary. Not that it's not interesting, but I don't think people care about Superman's dad.
No.
It's necessary to Russell Crowe to pick up that paycheck.
Right.
Maybe that's what it's all about. He just wants to get paid.
I saw an article too that Zack Snyder says that he has not heard from DC at all since the merger took over and David went in place and stuff. He said so. He says that he has not heard from them in any way, shape, or form. So
that's funny you mentioned that because
you have an article saying the opposite.
I do have no. I don't have an article saying the opposite. When the merger happened, the production company that is owned by Zack Snyder and his wife signed a big deal with DC and Warner Brothers. Not for him to be directly involved in direct movies, or whatever, but the company that he owns, I forget the name of it, signed this big infinity money deal to do, I don't know what, but I don't know what that company does, but see, it's funny. He can say that, but also not mean it at the same time. I haven't heard anything. Yeah, about you being directly involved in a movie, sure, but you can't say I haven't heard anything because that's not true.
Okay, we caught you. That's what we do on this show. We blame you and we name you.
So, what is the overall vibe of expectation for the DC movie universe now that there's?
I think it's looking bright. I think it's looking real bright.
But there's a stress factor to that too, which we talked about a few weeks ago. That you, as in these places high up in the DCU movies, you are expected to compete with Marvel. And remember, Marvel put a lot of they have years of ground laying in place that DC doesn't have in movie wise.
Yeah.
So,
well, keep in mind, it's hard. I like to use Amazon example. Every time someone tries to do some kind of online startup that ships stuff, it's hard not to be compared to Amazon. When I was the IT infrastructure manager for Chewy.com, people are always comparing us to Amazon, and that's okay. That's a good bar to set because Amazon is very successful. Same way with the DCEU. It's there's really no other comparison. There's no other extended cinematic universe that compares to Marvel, but it's okay to be compared to Marvel for some things, not Captain Marvel, because of how successful Marvel is. and how successful it is, and how much attention they get, and how much merchandise they make, and how they put butts in seats in theaters. So it's hard to be compared to someone like that, but it's also a blessing at the same time because you know what sells, and if you got to copycat them, there ain't no shame in copycatting them.
Yep.
Do it.
Yeah, just make some good movies. I don't care. I don't care.
A solo Plastic Man movie. I'm thinking you're going to be waiting a long time there, Russ.
Probably. I want to say hello to Kenneth Bird, who has joined us too. Great to have you here. And he's probably at work, but he's watching. It's Brock Morgan.
Brocky.
So, yeah. So other news? Anything else going on?
Other than that, I haven't really seen anything. Those were kind of the big ones. Unfortunately, the passing of Kevin Conroy shadowed a lot of other minor news, but yeah, that's the load of news.
Some news that actually came out a few weeks ago, and for whatever reason, we just didn't get to it in our news segment, but I think it's worthy of mentioning too. It has been announced and confirmed that this season of Stargirl is the final one.
Oh, I did hear that. That. And so, I think that's a good thing and a bad thing. Because I'm glad that it's not that I'm glad it's canceled, but like I think they had to cancel it so they could bring it up to the movies. Because I think Stargirl is one of those characters where people might get confused. It's not like the Flash. Flash is mainstream, established. They can run a Flash movie and a TV show at the same time. No confusion there. Stargirl, not so much. But it was a good show. I'm glad it was as successful as it was, and hopefully we will see Stargirl and Stripe in the big screen.
Yeah, I think so
it's
too.
Great.
Yeah.
What was the actress's name who played Stargirl? She did a really good job.
Ooh. Chad's gonna have to help us out on that.
Yeah, Chad, bonus points. Anyone who can tell us who played Stargirl.
In the meantime, Paul S. was asking because I was talking last week, how this was a great this past week was a great release week for DC. A lot of DC were sold where I was. Now, Sarah, there was a Death of Superman 30th anniversary one shot.
I saw your stuff on it. It's like, is it, first of all, it's been 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. And so, yeah, I was toying with the idea of wandering to my comic book emporium.
I was 5 when Superman died.
Oh, yeah.
Nice having Tony on the show.
Which means I could be your mother.
Yep.
Yep. Moving on. I think the foil cover that you showed, Ryan, it's like that thing was lovely and super expensive, apparently.
Yeah, didn't CGC do their own kind of thing?
They must have, because I went on the line and there's a CGC stuff for like $1,200 or something.
12, yeah, just an insane amount of prices. Limited editions. He's back.
Foil cover was beautiful. So that was for Superman 75, the 30th anniversary. So that was a complete reprint of Superman 75. The Death of Superman one shot was 4 original stories in one book done by the same creative team.
Jack Story Kirk was 29 when Superman died. I remember hearing about it.
Jackson.
I was in kindergarten and I heard about it. And it didn't make sense to me, one, because I was 5 and nothing makes sense. But like, how could you kill Superman? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. He's Superman. But then when I got older and read it, like, oh, okay.
The biggest Superman thing that I remember happening when I was in school, and there was one very big thing that happened when the night that they aired Superman the movie, the very first one, the Christopher Reeves movie, when that aired on television, that was a huge deal in school. And not only was it a huge deal the day of, everyone's so excited that this movie was going to be on TV that night. But the next day, everyone talked about it. And I remember the line that all of my childhood classmates loved, and myself too, was, "You've got me, but who's got you?"
Lois Lane.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Bree
that-
Bessinger is the name of Stargirl.
Mhm.
I think Paul was the first one to get it.
Yep.
Paul S. High five, Paul.
Yeah. And Gore is here too. Hi, Gore. And the media coverage they got, you could not buy publicity like what they got.
Oh yeah, I was watching this like a mini documentary someone put together about the death of Superman. People were buying like 20 copies, thinking it was going to pay off their mortgage, buy a summer home in the Hamptons, send their kids to Yale.
Yeah, it didn't do any of that.
Oh man. And then like it's funny now because you know that happened so long ago. It's like I'm sure DC was just loving like they were just making money hand over fist faster than knew how to deposit it. But like I don't think there's ever been that big of a hype for a single issue since.
Yeah.
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, you're right. Hello to John's Comics with Kids who's joining us. It's great to have you here. And before we get into the retro review, Paul, I hit the wrong one. Paul says, what major DC hero has never been killed?
Billy Batson. Shazam. Has he been killed? I don't think Shazam's ever been killed. I use that word "killed" very lightly, of course.
I don't know. You're gonna have to tell us, Paul.
I don't think Shazam has ever been killed.
Yeah.
Nubia, she's never been dead.
Well, editorially speaking,
Yeah.
That's a whole nother type of death.
Right.
Yeah. So that brings us into our retro review. And the reason why this book was chosen tonight, on Tuesday, DC Comics is releasing a facsimile of the first comic book that we're retro reviewing tonight. It's Wonder Woman number 204. This is the 50th anniversary. It's also the first appearance. There you go.
Would you like to? Hey, everybody, you want to see Ryan's head explode?
Oh, no, I know what she's going to do.
This is my copy of 204. Here's the cover of 204. Here's the back cover of 204.
Oh, no.
Wait.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What happened?
It broke.
And when did it break?
When Ryan and I were doing our live dive.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
So I'm really excited to have a facsimile that actually holds together so that I can enjoy reading it like a normal person rather than what I did. So anyway, I thought I'd share that just because you want to see Ryan turn green.
Same thing kind of happened to me. I was out and LCS and I bought a back issue. I've been eyeballing for a long time at a shop I rarely go to. And now I know why I don't rarely go to them. I take it out and I'm going to put it in my own bag and board. I'm holding it and the comic slides as I'm holding the front and back cover.
Oh, no.
Right.
And I was like, well, this is garbage now.
Yes, Brock, you're right. I do have the CGC.
Oh, you do have one. Okay.
Yeah, I
okay.
do. I have a nice one behind
That's the only reason we didn't have to call 911
exactly
during the stream. So
did I mention
would have just logged off if that happened to me on a live stream.
Yeah. The weeping would just be too much for people.
Yeah.
You should sign the cover and then send it to Ryan. He'd love it.
Having the memory of him freak out as it
I'd freak out too. Oh my gosh, I'd freak. I'm glad that someone pointed that out.
No, listen, I am the other thing about my channel is that I'm a reader copy gal. Yes, I do have some CGCs, but they're all of books I've already have and that I love for a particular reason. So the fact I get low grade books. And so I didn't realize when I pulled this out of the bag for the live dive, what terrible shape this was in. I had read it several times before, but
well, still, that's a key issue. I mean, that's pretty scarce, I think. You know, I don't recall.
Well, particularly in this condition, it's very scarce.
When I was looking for that book, 204 was a very hard book for me to find. As a matter of fact, as a childhood collector, I was never able to find it. It took me into my adulthood. It probably wasn't until circa 2000-ish that I found a copy, and it was at a comic book store in a suburb of Chicago when I was visiting. And going through, and I knew what the cover looked like, and I was mesmerized by the cover. And that was a hard book for me to find for a long time. And I still don't even see it all the time in the wild anymore.
Interesting.
I don't think I've ever seen this in the wild.
But Tony, if you want to bring up the assist,
sorry.
on 204.
Brock's right. They don't. The CGCs with plastic just doesn't smell the same way that
No. So we have an amazing cover here.
9.8.
Yeah. So this comes from a period of Wonder Woman that we'll talk a little bit more about when we're done retro reviewing, but especially the first page, which you think there's nothing to talk about. When we're done with all 3 reviews, there's something about that first page that's very notable. So let's get started with a retro review. This is Wonder Woman Volume 1, Issue 204. So page 1, we have the second life of the original Wonder Woman. And we start out in a building, and there's a sniper in the windowsill, fires a shot, and at 12:01, the sniper's first bullet hits Dottie Cottonman, Woman's Magazine editor, and strikes her dead. So we go on to the next 2 pages. The sniper continues, killing a man at 12:08, a delivery boy named Jimmy Green. And following at, that was 12:03. At 12:06, he snipes a married couple that had been married for an hour. Their vehicle runs right into this restaurant where the non-powered mod era Diana Prince is eating with her mentor, her blind mentor, I Ching. And she yanks him out of the way of this car. And the sniper hits I Ching. And he says, "Fate has a long arm, Diana. None can escape its reach. Farewell, daughter I never had. Weep no more." And she says, "Farewell, father I never had." So this is the end of I Ching, who has been with Diana for about 4.5 years at this point in her comic book. So Diana Prince leaps into action. And remember, she's still non-powered at this point. The world knows that Diana Prince was Wonder Woman and is non-powered at this point. She hops a ride with these guys that are with the police that are going to, they know where the sniper's at. They're going to get him. She hops a ride and the helicopter heads that direction. He's firing at them. She leaps out of the helicopter and lands on the building. If you arrow down just a little bit, she leaps out, lands on the building, and she engages the sniper. And on the very bottom panel, you'll see that her head gets hit against the side of the building. Well, the momentum of that launches both of them off of the building. Diana is saved by a gargoyle, one that happens just to be resting on the side of the building, and the sniper falls to his death on the concrete. Well, Diana Prince is recognized by those inside, and we cut to her waking up in the hospital. And she's like, "Who is Diana Prince?" And they're like, "Well, naturally, you are. She's dazed. You don't remember battling a sniper, falling from the roof with him? You landed on a projection. It saved your life." And they tell him that the madman killed her friend I Ching. And she's like, "I don't know anyone by that name." And she's like, "I've got to go. I've got to get back." And they're like, "Get back to where?" And they give her a sedative to make her sleep. And as the doctor and nurse leave, they're questioning, where was she trying to go? What has happened? Well, a short time later, the nurse heads back in. Doctor, Diana Prince is gone. Her clothes are gone too. And she's made an escape through the window. At a military airfield later on, the guards are commenting on how quiet everything is. Of course, that's an omen for the sheer fact that one of their fighter jets has taken off. Diana Prince has stolen this fighter jet and it's taken off. She keeps saying, "I've got to get back. I've got to get back." But she doesn't necessarily know where she's going. Well, they're in hot pursuit of her. And, they didn't even know someone stole this jet until the thing took off. They're firing missiles at the jet. The missiles do hit the jet that Diana's piloting, and it lands her down into the sea. She knows that she's got to bring the nose up or the ship will dive to the bottom of the sea. And thank Hera, I was thrown clear. And she goes, "Thank Hera? Where in the world did that come from?" Then there's a shark. And so she pretends to play dead, but that's not stopping the shark. He's coming in for its kill. So she realizes at this point she needs some air or her lungs are going to bust. So she heads up to the surface and she's welcomed into a boat. by a group of Amazons. Great Hera, do you realize who she is? We must bring her to Queen Hippolyta's palace. And they head back to Paradise Island. They change her clothes, put on her uniform, and her memory is, Hippolyta, thank Hera for bringing you back to me. And she's like, Diana, what happened? Don't you know me? I'm your mother. And she's like, mother? You? I've never seen you before in my life. And she's like, don't look at me, your own mother, as if I was a stranger. And they say, Diana suffered a total loss of memory. Our only chance of restoring it is at the Amazon Memory Bank, O Queen. So she informs the doctor to take her there at once. They set her up for the total replay when Queen Hippolyta says, not the total replay, doctor. Omit channels 3 through 5. Why should Diana know my secret? Edit out that single episode. I understand, O Queen. And the memory tapes began from the beginning of time. That brings us to an origin, essentially, of the Amazons and how, and their plight, what led them to becoming the warriors that they are, how the gods breathed life into these women and also power. And Hippolyta was made their queen and given a magic girdle, and how this magic girdle and these strong Amazons were essentially a ploy for Mars, god of war. He looked at it as a challenge. So he beds Hippolyta really with the intention of stealing this magic girdle from her. We got a violent slap there. And, he says, never trust a woman, chain them. Well, Hippolyta prays to Aphrodite to forgive her sin and give us their strength back to break their chains and recover the magic girdle. Aphrodite does so. Queen Hippolyta is able to break free of Mars, and the Amazons set out onto an island which no man may be allowed to enter. It will be a paradise for women only. And the city rose and thrived, and a short time later, a few years later, we have Hippolyta molding in clay the statue that will be brought to life and become Diana. And then we hit memory channels 3, 4, and 5, which are being skipped by Hippolyta's order. We see Aphrodite granting Hippolyta's prayers, bringing the statue to life. She names her Diana. She's endowed with the beauty of Aphrodite, the strength of Hercules, the wisdom of Athena, and the speed of Mercury. And she leaps into her mother's arms. And we see Diana growing and the strength that she has and the gifts that, she's been handed by the gods. There's the ceremony with the bracelets of submission as she pledges herself to Aphrodite for love and kindness forever. She's given a very special outfit, and Hippolyta tells her a golden magic lasso to aid in your battles against evil. So that brings us back to present moment with Hippolyta praying to Aphrodite to bring her daughter back to her. And she has. Diana recognizes her, and they have a celebration. So they're saluting Diana, Wonder Woman. And then suddenly an intruder arrives. I challenge. There is only one Wonder Woman. I am Wonder Woman. And Hippolyta's like, why does this stranger make my heart pound? And the stranger claims, by Amazon law, I claim the right to prove in hand-to-hand combat which one of us is Wonder Woman. And she's told, well, you do have that right, so you will be given it. And a short time later, they set up this contest, and they realize the stranger is as fearless as Diana in facing the bulls, but she can't be as agile, as strong, but she is. And we see through the contest that not only is she able to keep up to Diana at that very bottom panel, which is reminiscent of her cover, she can strike Diana because she has the advantage over her. But she hesitated too long to kill her, and Diana wants to know why. Why did you hesitate? And she says, I don't know. Hippolyta calls the duel off and says it's a draw, and tells the stranger to rise and remove their helmet and identify themselves so everyone can honor her. She does. She claims she's Nubia, the Wonder Woman of the floating island. And Hippolyta wonders, is it possible after all these years that Nubia is... And Diana says, we must celebrate our meeting, Nubia. And Nubia says, no, I need to get back to my boatmen. Our people are waiting on the floating island, conceal it off the mist, and we will see each other again. And Nubia says, we will, Diana, until one of us proves that she is the only Wonder Woman. Farewell until we meet again. So Diana wants to know more about Nubia. And she's ready to stay in Paradise Island, but Hippolyta is ready to get rid of her and send her back. And she's like, no, Diana, you belong to two worlds, but you may come here as often as you wish. It is your destiny to return and try to stop man from destroying himself and the whole world. An Amazon sub is waiting to take you back. I wish it weren't. And she says, so do I. And Diana heads back to man's world. She gets close to the United Nations, and she's left off near the United Nations. She changes into her Diana Prince disguise. The United Nations is hiring guides to speak as many languages as possible. Well, Diana knows all of them. Of course, she's referred to as a plain Jane. And the man hiring them figures he supposes he could lose her among all of these beautiful girls. I'm going to hire who can only speak a few languages. Oh, so she's hired. She meets some other friends who invite her to live with them because they need someone to help share the rent in the apartment near the UN. So she accepts that position, and she feels as if she's been reborn. I wonder what's going to happen to me the second time around. And that's the end of her first issue.
Boy, when they were talking about the origin of Wonder Woman, mid book, I couldn't help but think of Wonder Woman movie, like with that scene where they had the moving painting.
Oh yeah,
yes, absolutely.
I should have just cut to that clip.
Yeah. So before we take over, Sarah's going to take over the Nubia portion because that's what we're really focused on with the retro review. But I'm going to give you a quick recap of the first story in 205, which has nothing to do with Nubia. It introduces us to Morgan Tracy, who is a supporting character for a while in the Wonder Woman comic books, and it's the first appearance of this very odd villain, Dr. Domino.
I was going to ask you if that was the first time that thing had appeared.
Yes, yeah, it is.
I was going to say Domino Head, but Dr. Domino's pretty good.
So we'll go pretty fast through this portion.
Look at the Jackson's comment there in the chat, the last one.
I had a girl who believed she had a magic girdle.
She did not.
And we just rock wanting to move to floating island. Bob is here with us. Hi, Bob. How you doing?
Oh, God.
Yeah. So real briefly, this story starts out again at the UN, and we have this horrible man that hired her that says these horrible things about Diana and how she's a plain Jane and very derogatory statements that
he calls her ugly for 3 pages.
They are. They're yeah.
It's a little tough.
Yeah. So we have Diana here, and she's taking around this group of younger children around. She's being watched a little bit, and Morgan Edge has taken an interest a little bit to her because of her ability to know all of these different languages and stuff too. And he's impressed that Diana Prince can speak the Eskimo dialect as well, as you'll see on the next page. So this hiring manager, once again, says to Morgan Edge, why do you think I've hired a plain Jane like that to work here with our beautiful girls? And Diana overhears this and she's hurt by it. Plain Jane, plain Jane. I wonder how many girls have cried themselves to sleep over insults like that by blind men. But not I. You get a terrorist organization that comes in. They're after Morgan Edge. Diana turns into Wonder Woman to save the day. Of course, one of the students, and Diana thinks that she's been caught. One of the students has seen her, but this student is blind. So she doesn't know. She still thinks that she's talking to Diana. So she does tell her that she's Diana and gets her to safety. And then Wonder Woman bursts into the scene. And they want Morgan Edge because he has this formula for this. He has bought some type of really powerful formula for something that these terrorists want to use. You have these intruders that have bound Wonder Woman by her own lasso because they've told her if she moves, they're going to start shooting, and then decides, I wonder what it'd be like to kiss her. So he decides and he finds out what it's like to kiss her. The big headbutt. Diana breaks free, uses the lasso, bullets and bracelets. Morgan Edge has been captured. She figures he's in this ship that's near the United Nations. So she jumps into the water and heads there to save Morgan Edge. She gets herself up onto the boat, and she's captured because this is electrified, and the anchor was electrified. So
Can we just go back? I'm sorry. Slide where she hits the. Keep going. Right there. Clunk.
Yeah.
Oh golly, the ramp's closed.
Yeah. So she's brought on board this ship. Dr. Domino is there. It's the bacteria cloudburst formula that Morgan Edge has, which there's no defense on Earth for this once it's released. And he's in possession of it, so that's why they want Morgan Edge, so they can take that. If he doesn't give it to them, they're threatening nuclear war. They're strapping Wonder Woman to a warhead that they're going to send into New York City. They fire her off, bound to this warhead. Diana is able, by using her teeth, to free herself from the warhead and control it a little bit, get it out of the city. She's able to get Morgan Edge off of the boat. They fire at her, but essentially she jumps from the warhead into her magic lasso with Morgan Edge, and the warhead starts to disintegrate because of the firing that's been leashed upon it over top of the ship and the boat. Morgan Edge says to her, "How can I thank you for getting this troubleshooter out of trouble, Wonder Woman? Dinner, soft lights, romantic music." And she says, "Don't you see the sign? No talking to the pilot while the plane is in flight." Then we have Diana Prince in her undies back with her roommates, and they're talking about all the action of the day, but she can't do a thing with her hair. And they're like, "That's all you can talk about, with Morgan Edge and Wonder Woman being around?" And she's like, "Well, Morgan Edge, I can't wait till we meet again." But they do meet the next day, and he walks right past her. "I forgot he was attracted to Wonder Woman. I'll have to get used to a lonely life as Diana Prince."
Oh, woe is her.
Yeah. But there is a second story in here.
Yes, and it actually leads in thematically quite strongly with the mystery of Nubia. And so away. It's kind of it's a flashback to the previous issues. So Hippolyta sees Wonder Woman off into her sub, and then hustles over to the other side of the island because, oh my gosh, I'm so drawn to Nubia. I wonder why. And Nubia is kind of surprised that Hippolyta is being nice to her since she's going to fight Diana for the right to be the Wonder Woman. But, saying, listen, that's the way the rules of the road here on the island. So that's what I'm going to do. So, take care of yourself. Love you. Mean it. See ya. And so Hippolyta is still like, golly, she's not a stranger. I feel very close to her for some reason. So she flies on, or she sails on back to the floating island, and she comes upon the warriors are fighting each other, and it turns out they're fighting for the right to claim Nubia. She interrupts this fight and says, basically, "No one will ever own me. Thank you very much." She is then reminded of Mars' law of conquest. It's like, well, all right, fine. So she takes off her chainmail, basically. It says, "I will fight myself. I don't need to pick a champion. I'll do it myself." And so she goes up against a guy conveniently named Kenya, as if we needed that spelled out. And she basically beats him easily. And even though he's like, "How can you be so good at this? You're a girl and I'm a man." And then Nubia basically womansplains and says, "A man? What is a man without a weapon? Just another human being, la, la, la." And then she continues to womansplain and talks about how peace and love make the world go round, not violence. And so the boys are just dumbfounded by this insight. And she goes off to her little tent, and she reflects on her own loneliness, much like Diana did in that last story, actually. So the whole thing sets us up for the big finale and the big reveal of why is Hippolyta so inspired, and who is she, and why is she there, and what kind of character is she? So that is the mystery of Nubia.
Take it away, Tony.
Yeah, cool cover right out of the gate here. Loving it. I always look at these scans. I don't know why, but they always bother me. This poor guy had this issue. He must have spilt some chocolate milk or something down here in the corner.
It happens.
So, yeah, it happens. I've seen worse scans, but like, man, that's got to be a bummer. Because I think it starts to. I don't know if you guys see this, but it bleeds through a whole bunch of these. But
wow,
well, that sucks. Okay, so here we go. The big War of the Wonder Women. Pretty cool title here. Love this. The artwork so far on this. Who did the artwork on this? I don't think it.
Don Heck.
Don Heck. Yeah, he did a good job. He did a good job. Oh, he was at Comic-Con, I think. He was at Comic-Con. But anyway, here we go. We are at the UN, and it looks like there's some anti-war demonstrators, and I don't want to say pro-war, but support the troops kind of people. And of course, a fight breaks out because that happens every single time. But luckily, Wonder Woman was nearby, and she kind of lassos them all up. And it's funny because when they get stuck underneath the lasso of truth, and they'll kind of calm down, and they're all hunky-dory with each other, like, oh, I forgot what we were even fighting about. Like, really? You forgot what you're fighting about? The lasso ain't that powerful. It's not what it's supposed to do. It's not the little Men in Black thing where it's like, oh yeah, look here real quick. Like, that's not what it does. I had to laugh when I read that. Like, remember in the Superman movie, he could kiss you and you'd just lose your memory.
It happens.
Can you imagine if Wonder Woman had that power, specifically Gal Gadot? You get your dream come true. You get trade DNA with Gal Gadot, but you'd never remember it. So who knows?
If she kissed me, she'd remember it.
I bet she would. I bet she would.
Ditto.
So during that whole debacle, she sees this lady kind of step aside, and Wonder Woman kind of confronts her, but then they Wonder Woman goes to hold her hand, pull her up, and it just has this huge kind of remembrance kind of thing, like a big flashback.
That's one of Diana's roommates.
Who apparently she doesn't know her name.
Yes. Yeah.
It's my roommate.
Or the fact that she's seen her before.
Right.
Which is funny. But anyway, so they have this big flashback of right here. Wonder Woman's thoughts swiftly flash back to Paradise Island, where she had that big duel with now we know it's Nubia, but at the time Wonder Woman's memory was being reprogrammed with the Amazon memory bank. That's from the future, it looks like, but they're a bunch of Amazons, but forget that detail. And she skipped memory bank, or what is it, memory tapes 3 through 5 or whatever. Which if we're starting to put the pieces together, was the memories of Nubia. And then we come to find out that Queen Hippolyta molded 2 children from clay, which was kind of cool. I like that twist. I never read this before, so that was kind of a unique. I didn't know that, so it was kind of fun for me to find out. And then she's interrupted, as we are here, by this ad, and in comes Mars, and he takes one of the children, and Hippolyta tries to fight him off in defense, but it doesn't work. And then Aphrodite, Athena, Hercules, and Mercury finally appeared to bestow the remaining babe Diana with their beauty, wisdom, strength, and swiftness. So all these gods came together, which I got to point out is bad. all these gods come together with these godlike powers. Instead of stopping Mars, they're just like, shoot, he's too far. Well, let's just do it to this baby real quick. Let's just help this baby over here. I can't run that fast, you know. Which and Hippolyta herself is a god, and she's got some strength. So I feel like she's not like some damsel in distress who can't do anything, you know. That part made me chuckle too. Is she just like lets him go? He's like, oh man, he's all the way over there.
He took my clay baby.
Give me back my clay baby. And you know, and Mars is I get dark side vibes from this version of Mars, you know, or at least maybe Thanos vibes, where he kidnaps this girl, kind of raises her as his own, teaches her combat, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what's going on here, which I thought was kind of neat. We cut back to Themyscira. I don't know why I almost called it Amazon. Yeah, back at Amazon.com.
Fulfilling orders.
Fulfilling orders. Nubia is just cranking them out. There's a big how do we call it this? Oh yeah, big volcano erupts and on Mars Island, and it's like throwing these big rocks or whatever. Moments later, we cut to Diana Prince receives her mental message from her mother. I'm glad that this kind of got cut out of continuity, especially in the Justice League movie. You see Hippolyta like, I got to get a message to Diana, so she's got that big bow and she shoots it. I thought that was really cool, and Diana knew what it meant when she saw the news and this big place on fire. Yeah. She knew what that meant. I dislike this telepathic link, and a lot of characters do it. Not calling out Wonder Woman specifically, but I felt like it was kind of like cut corners. Oh, I need to get an emergency message. You know. Are you Martian Manhunter now? None of the gods have that ability, so all of a sudden you can do it? Okay, whatever. So anyway, Paradise Island is under attack from Mars, and Wonder Woman hails down her invisible jet, which was pretty funny, just happened to be right above where she was. And she hops in, and she's flying off to Themyscira at full speed, and she sees this kind of attack going on, so she grabs one of these big meatballs in the sky and just slams it down onto this thing, but it doesn't really work. So she needs like even bigger colossal balls and up here. I don't know. Well, that's what it says.
It is, yes.
It says it right there. Big colossal ball. Yeah. Yeah.
These do not disappoint, do they?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to mute myself.
Yeah. Listen, if you would have told me tonight that we were talking about colossal balls in a Wonder Woman issue, I would say there's no way. But here it is, black and white, right on the page.
Wonder Woman comic books are the gift that keeps on giving.
Yes, yes. But yeah, jumping back into here, she finally is able to stop the volcano. She sees her mother is trapped in some kind of tree. Again, she's a god, but like this tree with the branches don't even look bad. I thought, like, I feel like I would have a good chance of breaking out of those. But she's like, well, help me. But she tries to help them, and she's surrounded by these the men with the savage spears, and then she kind of lassos them suddenly, or the way that she did at the UN. Suddenly, here's Nubia, and then they have again this kind of like face off, you know. I bested you. I should be Wonder Woman kind of thing. Excuse me. And then where was it? Yeah, they have their big fight here, and we cut back to Themyscira, and Hippolyta is telling little Wonder Woman at the time about, you know, Mars and how, you know, bad he was and how much of a bad dude, and he loved war. Well, he's the god of war, so I mean, of course he loves war.
She's recognizing the ring on Nubia's finger as the ring that she saw on Mars in Themyscira on the statues, and that's how she's putting the connection together.
Yeah, right here. Where's this panel? Oh yeah, it is right there, but they really do a bad job. You have to take my word for it. It's just a tiny dot on this statue, I guess, of Mars. Just this little tiny dot. Can't really make it out, but yeah, they talk about the ring of Mars, and Wonder Woman notices it, and she's trying to take it off of Nubia. She manages to get it off, and then she goes to save Hippolyta. These animals try to attack, and her and Nubia actually takes down a wolf. Yeah, she gets the vulture. We cut to this cool commercial here. Mars finally catches up to Wonder Woman and says, "Hey, listen, you can't do that." Wonder Woman's like, "I got your cool little cereal box ring." They had to send in 5 UPCs for.
I've been working for months to get this thing.
A horrifying, nightmarish behemoth rears up in place of the vindictive war god. It's this big, 3-headed, fire-breathing dragon. Mars has transformed into this cool dragon. So they actually team up to take down this dragon. Mars comes back down to his original form. After all that happened, Mars just calls her a fool and then just kind of chills or pieces out, I thought. But yeah, they actually skip over the part where and maybe they did on purpose, but they actually don't mention the rescue of Hippolyta, because if you remember back here in a few panels, she was caught in the trees like a plastic bag.
Because when Wonder Woman went
that's right.
to save her, she found out it was an illusion, and she was trapped and surrounded by those
The
same
animals.
men that in Sarah's story were vying for Nubia's hand.
Yeah, and then we find out that we confirm that Nubia is Wonder Woman's stolen sister, which is pretty cool. And that kind of wraps things up.
Oh, by the way, she's your sister.
Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, this is your sister. She was stolen by the god of Mars, which I thought was pretty cool. Why wouldn't, first of all, if Hippolyta can make beings out of clay, wouldn't it be easier if Mars came down? Hey, listen, could you make me a kid? Here's some clay. I'll be back. Just let me know. Or couldn't Nubia just make another one? Like, oh man, I can only make 2 kids out of clay.
Right. There you go, trying to be logical about this.
Yeah. And honestly, I love these old issues like this. I really do. Because, back then, like, that was, I don't want to say state of the art, but that's pretty common way of doing things. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of mind control, a lot of pointing missiles at big cities, kind of silly villains like Dr. Domino and
well, now and chat, this is the part that I'm kind of excited about. I want to go back because if you remember at the beginning, I said on the very first page of the story that I reviewed, there's something about that. It's time to talk about that page right now. So remember on the first page, we just had this sniper that shoots a bullet. Sarah, do you know where I'm going with this?
I think if you're going to talk about Dottie Cotton.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
So apparently Robert Kanigher and Dorothy Woolfolk, who she was an editor at DC Comics, she took over a lot of the romance titles for Robert Kanigher. And apparently they did not have a good relationship. Because if you look, I mean, this entire page, this doesn't need to be in the story at all. There's nothing about this. The sniper's first bullet fells Dottie Cotton Man, Women's Magazine editor. So we have Dorothy Woolfolk and Dottie Cotton Man. Women's Magazine, that's supposed to be Ms. Magazine, which was responsible actually for the powered Wonder Woman coming back to be.
Do you want to throw my screen up there? I have that panel.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
I have that panel up here in case people want to check it out again.
So it's shades of Dorothy Woolfolk, who had been there forever and ever. And she had taken over editing duties for 4 or 5 issues at Lois Lane in that era, and tried to, put in a little the women's lib and the sensibilities of the 70s as things were changing, and it was, I think, very hard for her to do. because the boys weren't that thrilled. And so I think, you see, particularly in this, it's like the mockery of, Dottie Cotton. And, it's just so upsetting, really, if you think about it.
What was
her real name was
Dorothy Woolfolk.
Dorothy Woolfolk, who was married to a comic book artist, I think. I mean, she had been in the industry forever and ever and ever.
I wonder if there was some kind of like big beef. Obviously, there was big beef, but I mean, like, I wonder what it was.
Well, I mean, another thing too, she took over the editorial duties from a lot of the romance titles that DC was publishing that Robert Kanigher had until she took over. There's that. She also was an editor for 2 issues of the non-powered Diana Prince run, the mod era run of Wonder Woman when she didn't have her powers. There has to be some type of beef that Kanigher had, because remember, Kanigher was on the Wonder Woman title as editor until they changed it to the mod era Wonder Woman, and they took him off of that. So if you notice in this story, in this issue, he eliminates Wonder Woman even remembering that happened to her.
Right.
So there's a little bit there, but also in Wonder Woman 188, there is a Robert Kanigher reference in there where Diana Prince is stopping 2 female shoplifters. And the second female shoplifter that she stops, she realizes is really a man, and his name is Creepy Kanigher.
Gee.
Kanigher. So there was no love loss between these creative teams, especially when it came to Wonder Woman. So this is him literally firing back.
Yeah, and I think too, the Gloria Steinem part of this too was a big deal, because she was really pushing the higher ups at Warner Communications, who own, because she was Gloria Steinem, and so in any event, I remember reading somewhere that when 204 was published, Robert Kanigher basically said, "Okay, fine. You can have, she's got her powers back. And I gave her a black friend." You know what I mean? So it's like, okay.
Can't get over what it's possible. Hey, I was just reading what was on the page.
Hello to Caleb Leland, who stopped in too, and Copy 801 been here for a little while with us too. So thank you guys for stopping in.
Hello, Caleb, my fine sir.
Yeah.
It's I'm telling you, this whole series is it's a real keeper from my perspective, because the Kanigher stories are they're quintessential Bob Kanigher, however you pronounce his name. I mean, it's in one sense a good faith attempt, sort of, at taking the moment in society and culture and trying to take it a little bit seriously. I mean, as seriously as you can in a DC comic book. But at the same time, he and the editors just could not conceal, their disconnection from women and their disdain, their absolute disdain for women.
Hi, Jeff.
The whole, in the second story, where the 3 pages where Diana's new boss keeps calling her ugly, it's like, what the heck? That means nothing to this ridiculous story of the bioweapon. You know what I mean?
I wonder what would happen if this book, let's say it came out, like this week.
It is coming out this week.
In this, I mean, like now, like it was written now.
Okay, it's a new story for now.
Yeah, in this Me Too era, this, and you publish that kind of book like now. You couldn't. I wonder how many people at DC would have been fired.
Lots. Well, and that's one of the reasons I like going back through these old stories is those those moments where I'm like, oh God, the world is so hard. This is so difficult. Ugh. But then I'm like, God, have we come a long way? Whew.
Yeah. So I want to ask the chat this, and chat, you can reply as we start going in, as the panel starts talking about our final thoughts and comments about this story arc, and giving it a grade. But chat, issue 204 is coming out as a facsimile on Tuesday at your local comic shop. Is this something that you would pick up now that you've seen the story? You've had more than a preview, you've seen the entire story. What do you think of it? Is it something you're going to add to your collection? Let me know in the chat below if you're picking the facsimile of 204 up this Tuesday. So Sarah, we'll start with you. Overall, these 3 issues, the story arc, what did you think? Give it a grade. What did they do right? And what could they have done better?
Well, I'm a 5. If it's on a 5-point scale, I'm 5 out of 5 on this one.
Okay.
I think the cover art for all 3 books is absolutely fantastic. Every single one is a winner. The story art, I thought, is really solid. And I like the way the story, even though the second main story doesn't necessarily have to do with Nubia, it is part of the overall arc of these 2 lonely sisters, and so I think it's a really important part of Wonder Woman's canon, but also that Nubia is back now, and so with a different origin story and all of that. But I think this. I love it. I think it's an important book. I think it's an important 3 series, and I'm glad Nubia still lives, and hopefully she'll end up in a movie somewhere. And so that's another reason to maybe pick up the book. I don't know if facsimiles end up being worth anything, but the cover sure is.
Only if they get an acetate cover, then they become.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, right. But it's a great cover. It's just a great cover. It looks good on any wall. So yeah, thumbs up for me. I'm a big fan of this.
Tony, what do you think?
I would agree. This is a pretty good story. Am I going to pick up the facsimile? I'm definitely probably won't. Only because I don't pick up facsimiles at all anyway. Yeah. Not just that this one is special, I'm not picking it up. They're not for me. It's a reprint. I'd rather have the original. Will I ever come across this issue? Probably not, because I don't think I've ever seen it in the wild anyway. But just something to add on the wish list, maybe. But yeah, I think this is good. 4 out of 5 for sure. I didn't like the jumping around, even if it's in pieces.
Thank you.
The Shebab Collector's Edition. You can market it that way.
Pedigree.
Limited series.
Very limited.
Only 2 copies, the front and the back. But yeah, it's a cool story. Whether or not Nubia becomes popular enough to be in a movie, I don't know. That's an interesting question. I will honestly, I'd be surprised just because how obscure she is. But then again, they put Atom Smasher in a movie and it did okay. So I don't think that she would get a standalone. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. It's happened once. Ask my wife.
For me, I'll say a 4.5, and the reason I didn't go full 5 is just some of the, and I know at the time that's how it was, but some of the language doesn't age well, which is why I knocked it down half. Yeah. But this issue, I'm actually glad that it's coming out as a facsimile because, like I said, it is a tough issue to find.
Is there a reason this is coming out as a facsimile? Is it like an anniversary or something?
It's Nubia's 50th anniversary.
50th anniversary of Nubia, okay.
But once again, this facsimile is kind of geared on Nubia and not on Wonder Woman. Although this is an important issue not only for Nubia's first appearance, but for the end of the mod era Diana Prince. The death of I Ching is in that issue. So there's a lot of stuff that's actually happening in that one comic book. I was really excited. I thought, well, it'd be nice to have it on the current paper, nicer paper, I want to tell you something. I have held the physical copies of this book, of the facsimile, in my hand. They're using a different paper on this than what they've used even on some of the other facsimiles.
Oh, really?
It's more of a retro type paper.
Interesting.
So I thought that was interesting. I wasn't expecting that. That surprised me. But
that's kind of cool though. That's, if you're gonna reprint it, why not do as much reprint as you can? Like, even try to do it on paper.
They could, I think.
Yeah, that's really cool. Although I do see a problem with that. Some people are gonna try to pass that off as a real issue.
Yeah.
Even though all you got to do is like, hey, there's a barcode on here. Like, well, they didn't.
What if your copy doesn't have a cover? So we got copy saying a maybe and picking it up. Ben is going to pick it up. Caleb kind of on the fence, maybe, possibly. Paul is going to pick it up. How come they don't release a Wonder Woman issue 1? That's a good question. Because Superman had his first appearance as well as Superman #1 as a facsimile. Batman's first appearance has been a facsimile. Robin's first appearance has been a facsimile. Now, Wonder Woman's first appearance would be an All-Star 8, so she's not even on the cover of that. And it's just an insert. So it would probably make more sense to do Sensation Comics #1 as a facsimile, because that is her first full story. And she's on the cover. It's her first cover appearance, but it's a good question.
Fabulous question.
Yeah.
Maybe they're waiting. Maybe they're waiting for the next one, the Wonder Woman 3.
They could. What I do want to say, where they went wrong, Nubia only has like 2 more appearances pre-crisis.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous.
She's in a Supergirl comic book, and she is in a Super Friends comic book. And
really?
I think this character has so much potential that they just dropped.
Super Friends. I've even helped myself. I'm a little sticky. Nubia, that's why you have this.
Don't throw that one away.
No. But fear not, it's in its crappy shape.
Is the cover still on it?
Yes, I'm sad to say the cover is still attached, actually. But so yeah. But yeah, they had a great, a really interesting start to a really interesting character, which, you would think the way they wrote it's like, oh, we'll see you again soon. It's like, never.
Yeah.
The Supergirl book.
Great potential.
Yeah, the Supergirl book, she's literally in like 2 panels. She saves someone. Mm-hmm. She saves Supergirl from the water or something. So it was just very sad to see during the Bronze Age that she came, she went, she disappeared. So
I guess the Wonder Woman 204 has gone up in value over the last several times, according to a Key Collector app. It's always perfectly spot on, but low grades you're looking at like $100, which is pretty cool.
Wow. Really? I'm rich.
Yeah. How low?
How low can it go?
Well, cover only. If remember sometime this year someone had slabbed a piece of a cover of Superman #1 and someone sold it for $7,000.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Maybe you could do it.
I like. Thank you, Jackson. It's not a she-bed pedigree. That's going to be my newest series, I think, on my channel, the Pedigree Collection.
Yeah,
Shebab's pedigree.
How you can tell that Shebab has owned this book?
Watch me fly through.
Yeah.
You got to put the pages in order.
Oh man! So let's start with our book show, and at the same time promote anything that you have coming up on your.
I gotta grab a book. Let me grab.
Okay,
a book.
Special guest, Silver Hair, Bronze Age Babe. You go first.
Okay, so I'm actually doing some research for a book club that my friend Rob and another friend of ours is having, because they suggested the trade version of Strange Adventures, which is a Tom King book. That came out, was it last year before?
Yeah, around that time. It was pandemic time.
Yeah. And so I was like, that's great. And I looked on the internet, and like getting a new copy of the trade was like $32, and I couldn't find one for cheaper. So I went on the eBay and found someone who would sell me the original set for like $8 plus shipping.
Nice.
So I and I like to wreck the individual issues, as you know. So I've got these, and I've been enjoying them. And then I was like, I don't know that much about Adam Strange. It would, I think, help me if I could see his origin story. And a little research showed me that, oh my God, there are reprints of that from 1969 or so. And so I got Strange Adventures, Adam Strange Adventures.
That's a great cover.
Yeah,
It is a nice cover.
Isn't it great? And it's got his, or it's full of reprints, because I guess he first appeared in Mystery in Space in the early 60s. And so then they did us all a favor. And there's the second one. So it's enough for this newbie to catch up on, like, just basically get the gist of Adam Strange. And and I've been poking through my own collection to find, because I'm going to show Rob and our friend other covers in my collection that are Adam Strange. And it's interesting too, because there are a couple of homages art-wise that I found in this thing that relate to a couple of covers that I have. So that's always fun. Nice. And and on my channel, so maybe I'll do something with Adam Strange on my channel, but I'm really looking forward to, I found I have amazing additions to the Lois Lane collection that eBay people are going to be sending to me. And when I get them, I will be for sure doing a video to show you some really a couple of cool Lois Lane things that I didn't know existed. I didn't know I wanted, but then I had to have them. So yeah, coming soon.
Awesome.
Exciting.
So, Tony, what's going on your channel, and what do you have for a book show?
Book show. I got one that's is relevant actually to the story that we had, which never really happens, of course. But I have here Nubia and the Amazons. If I can defeat that
it's
glare.
signed.
Signed by Mark Morales and Arnitha Martinez.
Oh, neat.
So I'm at Baltimore Comic Con, real quick story, and I brought this issue to get signed, and I also brought the one where it's like a full portrait of Nubia, and she's looking all official and stuff like that. And I pull this one out, I get it signed, and I'm over here, and I'm trying to like look through my books, whatever, and I cannot find this issue to save my life. Cannot find it. And then I was like, I gave up. It's like, maybe I didn't bring it. Maybe I didn't bring it. We're on the way home. My brother's driving. I'm sitting in the back seat, and I'm looking at my books, and like I'm just, oh man, I got all these cool books signed, all this stuff, and I find it, and I'm like, come on, like, it was right there. But yeah, Nubia and the Amazons, #1, signed by Mark Morales and Arnitha Martinez.
That is fantastic.
But that's okay. I can get the issue signed because Mark Morales and Arnitha Martinez. I don't know if they're local to me, but they are always at cons in my area, so not worried. I'll get them. But what's coming up on my channel? Shorts for everybody. Shorts for days. So if you're into YouTube shorts, check those out. But I don't have a whole lot of like videos. I really need to do at least like a top 10 cover signature or whatever. I haven't really figured stuff like that out yet, but a lot of cool ideas, but the execution is the key. 2 kids and a wife and a full-time job, so my time here is fairly limited.
You can't squeeze in video production.
I could at the cost of my sleep.
Right.
And no thanks. I need the average at least 15 hours a day. So
Smart cat.
yeah, and I haven't had my full 15 hours since before I started having kids, so it's been a few years. So I feel like the bags on my eyes just keep going, and that's why I have facial hair, because you can't really tell where they stop. But I feel like they've gone all the way down. They're starting to come back around the top of my head. And they're going to be the bags over my eyes at some point. So.
Hello to Knights of Old. Like. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while, so that is awesome that you stopped by.
Welcome back. And I'm so close to 600 subs, so if you could help me.
Great.
I'm at 590.
Oh, wow.
590.
Once again, links to everyone's channel is in the description
Yeah.
for this video, so please help out. So
now that I say that, I'm going to lose 4 tonight.
Just to mess with you.
Yeah.
Before I get into my book show, I saw my channel go over 700 because I had a short that
exploded.
That exploded. It had 18K views in one day.
Wow.
And so I garnered like 60 over close to 70 subs off of 18K views. And YouTube took a huge amount of them away and haven't given them back.
Huh.
Really? So what do you have? Are you still over 700?
No, I'm at 685. And then I got 2 more cents and they took those away from me too.
See, you took off too fast.
The algorithm doesn't like that.
Yeah, they don't like you taking off. It's a slow, smooth ride.
So for my channel, I'll promote my channel first, then I'll do book show. But on my channel, I have another YouTube short dropping tomorrow about a comic that ties into a comic book movie that is very popular this weekend for Marvel. So,
what could it be?
Yeah.
Even I know what that
is. Forever. And on my channel on Tuesday, providing that the editing gets done and uploaded in time, there will be a new comic book editions video, some more recent additions into my collection. And then there will be a cover by video with Comics for Thomas and Cookie for Just a Little podcast dropping on Friday. So that's what's lined up for my channel. For a book show, there's a few things I want to do. The first I'm going to show, because I wasn't sure if Silver Hair Bronze Age Babe was going to show this or not. But Nubia
I did not.
has her own candy bar.
I've actually got one of those.
The full-size bar is a Walmart exclusive. Who knew that candy bars would have exclusive wrappers?
One thing I got to say about them doing it this way, if you look at all the bars, not just the Nubia one, it says who they are. Like, I'm Wonder Woman. Like, in case you couldn't figure that out for yourself. Yeah. The guy with the big Superman logo is Superman.
I lucked out because Magic Lasso sent me an AOK with candy bars.
I did. I think there's some to keep and some to eat.
I ate. She sent me 3. We ate 2 of them very quickly, and the third one is unopened, and unless the mice get to it down in the basement, it's on a shelf in the comic book room with the Nubia stuff. And then my friend Lucinda Swirl got in on the act, and she sent me the Superman candy bars. So,
nice. So now you're collecting candy bars.
Now I'm collecting candy bars, and my weight and my zits are
collecting candy bars and loose covers.
Exactly.
So that's
how I roll.
For a book show tonight, I wanted to pick a book that actually kind of tied into what we talked about tonight. So keep in mind, for tonight we did Wonder Woman 204, 205, and 206. Over 100 issues later, they actually revisited some of the themes of Wonder Woman 204 in issue number 322. This is where Wonder Woman learns that her memories have been tampered with. And they've actually been tampered twice, in issue 204 and issue 270. And this is her getting all her full memories back, including I Ching, including, if you remember in 204, they never said anything about Steve Trevor, and because Steve Trevor is dead at this point in the DC universe in 204. And by this time, Steve Trevor is back in a very weird sort of way. The original Steve Trevor is Ares, not Ares, the god of war. I'm Eros, the god of love. And there's another Steve Trevor. So it's a real interesting time. But this issue kind of delves into it. And keep in mind, Wonder Woman ended on issue 329. So this is 322. So this was close to the end of the run of Wonder Woman. And they finally tied up some loose ends, 100 plus issues later. So I thought that would be a good book show.
Yeah, I'm
writing that one down. So very that cool. Is my book show tonight. And Knights of Old asking, the thing is, when you get when you get so many subs so fast, YouTube freaks out and thinks that they're robots or that you bought them, that because you can hire people to sub to your channel. So they don't think that they're real and they take them away. But you got to think, if I have a video that 18,000 people watched in a little over a day, yes, I would get subscribers from that. That's only logical. So
I just freak out when I do a short and it gives me 1 subscriber. I'm like, yeah. And then I lose 4. I was like, oh, dang it.
Female Force Loretta Lynn is out and available anywhere, because John's Comics with Kids would get mad at me if I didn't plug this. But also, I have a giveaway contest for this.
Can I just say, Ryan, now that I'm seeing you eyeball to eyeball, you did a fantastic job on that. You really did. I think it takes a lot of skill to take a life as big as Loretta Lynn's and convey what made her so special in just literally a few pages of a comic book. It's tremendous.
It is. I still don't know if I want you to write my biography though, because the timing of when it came out.
Yeah.
I think I'm good.
Here's the problem. I'm going to write the biography of the other Tony Fett.
Yeah, do it.
There's 2 Tony Fetts on YouTube, Sarah.
Oh, okay.
And so we give this Tony Fett a hard time about the other Tony Fett.
Got it.
He does Star Wars.
He does Star Wars.
Really?
Star Wars, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it's obvious. Yeah.
But there is a giveaway for this book. Look at my November 1st, 2022 video for all the details. It's very easy to get to get entered to win this. You just have to be subscribed to some channels, which more than likely you already are. So you just need to let me know that you're subscribed and you're entered. And the contest ends, I think, on Saturday the 26th. So get to it.
Hurry up.
I hope you are you going to do more comic writing, Ryan? Are we good?
So Tidal Wave Publications is the publisher of this book. I have agreed so far to 2 projects. One is complete and will be announced in the first quarter of the new year.
And they do only the Female Force, right? So it's not like
Female Force is one of the lines that they have.
Oh, it's a line, okay.
But they have they have actually traditional comic books with superheroes, their own characters too. So they actually, Tony, have an Isis comic book of the Egyptian goddess.
Nice.
So
that'd be cool.
Check them out. But I will be doing another book in the Female Force line. Which I have not physically written a word to, but in my mind, I'm
it's all done
together.
I got it.
How that works. So
as long as you're not writing the ISIS books, because nowadays you don't want your name anywhere near that name,
no, you don't.
Regardless of what it is, good or bad.
Yeah, that's so bad. Hey, Sarah, did you see the Black Adam movie?
No, I know nothing about.
Is it something you'll watch, like when it comes
onto HBO and all that? I totally will. But I just like, I don't know.
Hands down, the best thing that's ever been filmed.
So you liked it?
I'm just kidding. Oh no, I liked it. Yeah. I was gonna say that because people always like, yeah, it was okay. And it was like, bro, what are you talking about? It's the greatest cinema masterpiece of our generation.
People are very split on it. Some completely enjoy it, and some people are on the other spectrum of that. So.
They said that about Wonder Woman too, and I never understood. Like, good, it was a great movie.
You mean the second Wonder Woman, or Wonder Woman 2, or Wonder Woman TOO?
Wonder Woman 1984.
Okay. It was there were some problems with it.
No, it was good. It was good. Just let it be. It doesn't have to be this big fist fight after the end of every scene, you know?
It would have been better if the story would have been an adaptation of the George Perez Barbara Minerva Cheetah origin. That would have been an incredible movie. So
the original Wonder Woman movie gets 2 points shy of being perfect because of the stupid Ares reveal, and he kept his old timey 20s British mustache. I was waiting the whole time, like he's gonna ditch it and he's gonna be like true Ares. We're gonna see it. Nothing.
Well, the chat is turning on us.
Yeah,
So
I think it's time to go.
it's time to end Fanboys Live in the Retro Review. I'll kill 30 more seconds and thank our special guest once again, silver-haired Bronze Age babe. When it's all said and done, it comes down to the people you in the relationships you make, and I'm so glad that you're my friend, and I'm so glad that you agreed to come on the show.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Tony, for having me. I
Absolutely.
really love it, and invite me back anytime. I will show up.
Hi, Bubs.
Great.
As long as you bring your pedigrees with you.
Oh yes.
Thanks for watching Fanboys Live in the Retro Review. We'll see you next Sunday.